Welcome to the Good Gut Show, and it's Monday, and I hope you're not lagging because, Mondays are always kind of lagging after the weekend. But I'm going to just pep you up, and I'm going to talk about today why go gluten-free. And this is a very, very, very a near and dear subject to my heart because I wrote a book called Gluten Free in 5 Days. You can get the Kindle edition on Amazon. And I went gluten-free, and I'll tell you why. First of all, it was really obvious to me that wheat was not my friend, number one. Number two, I did leap mediated release testing, years ago now, and I probably should redo it. And I will talk more about that, I think, next week. I'm going to do a whole week on it. And basically found out that wheat was off the charts red. Okay, you have green, which is the good, like Go, the good gut, non-reactive foods. You got yellow, probably should avoid, and you got red, off the charts. And wheat was off the charts for me, and so was oats. And those are two gluten-containing grains. So I started really wondering about that and went gluten-free even before I wrote the book, Gluten Free in 5 Days, on Amazon. You can get the Kindle edition. And basically what happened was I started researching it for the book because I had shared in a marketing group of wonderful women. It's gone now. It was called Elevate. That I went gluten-free, and I think it's a really good idea. So I started kicking around the idea, and one of my wonderful friends, who I actually dedicated the book to, Marquesa Petway, who's a speech coach, she said, gluten-free in 5 days. So that's the name of the book. And what I found when I was researching it, you can read it in the introduction. And actually, if you go to Amazon, you can read the introduction. I found out that wheat, especially, because wheat is the issue, the main reason about that I, went gluten-free was my wheat thing. But wheat is really the primary culprit in gluten sensitivity. Okay, so celiac disease is on the rise, which is a total problem with wheat. You just can't eat it. You've got to avoid all of it in every way from your diet. Okay. And basically, I started, and basic gluten sensitivity. Woo, where's my head today? Gluten sensitivity is only, is something that's really on the rise that they're researching. And that's up to 60% of us have gluten sensitivity. So that was a big red flag for me because I'm thinking, yeah, I probably have that. Even though I tested negative for celiac, don't do it. And that's basically not. So I started researching it, and I found out some very interesting things. Number one, I always kind of wondered, even way before I became a dietitian, why they milled the life out of flour and then took out the nutrients and then put them back. Even when I was a little kid, I went, why are they taking them out and putting them back? That made no sense to me. So we milled the life out of wheat, and we mostly eat wheat. And that's kind of not okay, number one. Number two, Roundup, glyphosate, is still used in this country, unfortunately. It's banned in a lot of countries. And basically, they're thinking that maybe the intolerance is about the fact that they spray the wheat fields so that they'll all ripen at the same time. Also, the wheat that we're getting now is not the wheat. Even the whole grain is not the wheat that we had thousands of years ago when people first harvested it. So those things are really interesting that I found when I researched the book. Number one. Number two, I'm a big advocate of going a certain free thing, avoiding that from your diet and seeing how you feel. And when I went gluten-free, I felt better. Okay, that I originally, when I wrote the book, that's how I felt. But now there's been more and more studies about the fact that when you eat gluten, it rips up your gut, right? There's a study by Holland, I think in 2017, 2018, that showed that even if you had a normal gut, if you ate gluten, it ripped up your gut, which is okay because your gut rejuvenates itself, but it gets to a point where it doesn't. And that's when you have what we call loss of oral tolerance. And that's when you end up with leaky gut because of gluten. Okay. So if those aren't enough reasons why go gluten free, I don't know. All right. I don't know. I'm now a big advocate of everybody going gluten free, and lots of more people are going gluten free. And it's one of the things I advocate for leaky gut, for healing your gut, because we just don't know these days. We just don't know what kind of gluten is in wheat. And someone said to me once that there's more gluten in wheat. I don't think so. I just think we have wheat that's not the same as it was thousands of years ago when we started harvesting it. And also, we've treated it with so much stuff and made it really, really, really unappetizing to our bodies. Right? Maybe not unappetizing to us, because yes, I still miss my croissants and my croissant and my pastry. But that's why I went gluten-free, and I've never looked back. It's great, and it's easier to do now than ever before. And I'm going to talk more about going gluten-free tomorrow. Okay, because it's actually easy peasy. I'm going to talk tomorrow about doing it easy peasy, which is really, I'll explain it more tomorrow, but it's really an easy way to start, right? If you don't have celiac disease, it's close enough for government work. See you tomorrow. Dietitian Jill signing off. Have a fabulous